Throughout the program, we were introduced and began to engage with looking at the system of equity with a critical lens. Dr. Vanderway said to all of us, there's a lot of people working in the field of equity and they're really not doing a good job. And that was the introduction, and then we were introduced to theories. So what I take from the program is when I go out and work with nonprofits, with other activists, and even in the field of employment, is I can critically analyze, is this organization doing what they say they're doing? And then to look within the organization if that's not the case and be like, why is that happening? Where is that coming from? And so because of that, of course, today I sort of have a bleak outlook on the field of equity because I see a lot of problems. But I wouldn't have seen those if I hadn't been exposed to that. Especially as a white person, it's along with that critical lens comes learning about white privilege and things like that. And I have sort of built-in knowledge so that I can reflect on what I'm doing and ask myself, is the work I'm doing, is it useful or is it perpetuating a system? What I did was a critical narrative analysis of British Columbia's latest foster parent training curriculum. But what I focused on specifically is one aspect of the module, and it pertained to Aboriginal children in care. And so what I did was I analyzed each module and what settler foster parents were being taught about Indigenous children, Indigenous people as a whole, and the history of settler colonialism. And what I found was that that's not actually happening. And what I found was that within this brand new curriculum, there's really old narratives. So it looks brand new and it looks like the story's changing and that we've learned and we've become more aware of what's going on with Indigenous peoples in the world. But if you actually do a critical narrative analysis of the curriculum, you see the same narratives that are about 20 and 30 years old that have already been proven to be harmful and not of any use when it comes to changing anything in the system. It can be hard at times to learn about white privilege, and it can be painful, it can be embarrassing to make those connections where you're like, oh my gosh, I did that, they're talking about me. And I would encourage them to push past those feelings and not to get angry at the professors that are introducing the ideas, and to not feel like ashamed and to not let that shame paralyze them, because you have to push through all of that to really learn. And I know that that's something that white people really, really struggle with, but I would like them to know that they're not alone, and that not to lash out, but to keep learning and realize that with knowledge we can change things. And if we freeze up and just shut people out, even if we don't like what we're hearing, we're not going to learn anything.